Hey, it's 2024. You know you want to elevate your life, but you need ideas on how to do that and how to create an action plan. Don't worry, I got you. If you follow me on Instagram at actualized.af, make sure you're following me right this very second. You know that I created the Actualized AF Goal Getter Guide, a 26-page guide on visualizing, designing, and creating your life. Basically, I created a 3-step process to help you imagine the person that you want to become, design a plan to become that person, and then create your life over time in order to make sure that you stay accountable to yourself and make sure that all of your dreams of actualization come true. In my Goal Getter Guide, I have it set up to align with a 15-week process. In the first 2 weeks, you're visualizing the life you want. In the third week, you're creating the action plan for the life you want. And in the last 12 weeks, you're literally executing on the life that you want and creating it. But that doesn't mean that you need 15 weeks to actually get your life together. This system is for the people that are looking to really change their lives, to go to you 2.0, to elevate, turn a new chapter, to read a new book, to go on a new path. If you're looking to do that, then this system is for you. I created it based on my own experience of doing that for myself. I've done some pretty cool things in my life. I've graduated from Harvard. I've lived in Korea. I've lived in Tokyo. I've bought a house. I've become a triathlete. The list goes on. Yes, I'm smart. My knowledge has put me into those places, but more so it's because I created a plan. I visualized a life that I wanted to live, and I created a plan to become that person. So this system is different. It's none of the woo-woo, believe you can and you will. You can believe and you will, but you only will if you put an action into place, make a plan, put it on your calendar, and execute. So what's special about this system is that we're able to analyze our current selves and our future selves, look at the gaps between those two people because they are two different people, and then based on those differences, make a plan to move forward into the future as this new elevated version of yourself. So let's start with step 1, which is visualize your best self. Like I said, there's 2 weeks of visualization activities in my Goal Getter Guide, but I'm going to focus on the second week, which is visualizing using all of our senses. So imagine your most actualized self in the future. And this doesn't have to be when you're a grandpa, a grandma, an old person on your dying day, honey. No, because we're actualized all throughout our lives. What I want you to do is close your eyes right now, close your eyes and visualize yourself. Literally visualize yourself on your peak day in your peak period of life. What are you doing? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you hearing? What are you thinking? I could go on and on forever. To visualize my best self, I like to focus on the 5 senses. We experience life through our senses. Literally, life is a sensory experience. It's about how we react to things that we take in, and it's also about the energy that we put out into the world to create a holistic experience that is life. And I love that because if you really stop and think about it, whenever you wake up, you start to take in things from the world. And in your actualized self, you understand that you can either be reactive or proactive about how you take in the world and how you show up to the world. Taking that information in, close your eyes, okay, and imagine your best self, your most actualized self on your best day, and you're waking up in your bed. Now, let's go through our first sense. Once you open your eyes, what do you see? What are you seeing around you? Is it that same bedroom that you're in right now? Is it that same bed that you're in right now? Or is your entire bed changed? Is there more light in the room on your best day, in your most actualized body? What are you seeing around you when you wake up? Ask yourself that same question when you imagine yourself going down to get coffee. As you go throughout your day, getting into your car, going to an office. Well, is it an office? Are you seeing an office? Are you even seeing a road? Is your most actualized self even getting into a car? Is your most actualized self getting on a train? Are you seeing a train because you moved cities? So breaking down your life into the first sense, which is sight, will allow you to realize what you actually want to see in your world, what needs to be removed from your world because you don't want to see it anymore. And it will also give you insight into how you can slowly build things into your current world in order to become your future self. So imagine, this is just a small example, but this is something that is real. So I realize, okay, when I wake up, I want to see trees. I need to see trees. And I realized that for myself, like my current self, because I love trees so much, not because I'm like this major tree hugger, environmentalist. No, it's because trees literally give me peace. I need to see the color green. I'm a Taurus. I'm an earth girl. So I need all of the greenery in my life. Okay. I'm like the epitome of a Taurus. And so that means that any choices that I make based on my location in the future need to involve trees. So same with sun and natural light. So when I wake up, my most actualized self sees the sun and natural light. So that means that my most actualized self needs to have access to a lot of windows where it's facing the sun and natural light. So in the future, any future decision that I make, I'm not going to be choosing no dungeon apartment. No. Well, that's not happening to begin with, okay? Because I love my house. So that means that any future home that I have, I want windows in my bedroom face the east so that I can see the sunrise, okay? It's kind of like a silly and small thing that I need to see trees and have windows for natural sunlight. But also, if I'm in the process of designing my life, and these are small things that I can take into consideration to design my dream life in a location that I love, why not start thinking about it now in order to create that vision for myself in the future and not make choices that don't align with the person that I'm trying to be? Do you see that? So it's all about alignment. Are the choices that I'm making daily in alignment with my vision of my future self? Yes or no? And then you make choices in order to become the person that you actually want to be. Giving yourself the idea that this is possible and then taking the steps now to create that image for your future self will ultimately help you get to that person even faster. You can do this for all the senses. What do I want to see when I wake up and go throughout my day? What do I want to hear? Okay, this is a big one. Do you want to hear somebody nagging and talking fear into your life? Do you want to hear bad music that's calling you a whole bunch of names? Or wait a minute. Do you want to hear positive thoughts? Do you want to hear good music that's fueling and nourishing your soul? Do you want to hear a lot of noise because you're living in a city? Or do you want to have silence throughout your day because you're living in the country or a rural town or in suburbia? Who knows? And again, just by thinking about what this actualized person wants to see and wants to hear during the day will help your current self make better decisions in order to become that person. Even do this exercise with smell and taste. This might seem so weird because smell and taste are they're like the smallest things that you could be thinking about when you're designing your dream life. But honestly, it makes so much sense. So let me give you an example with smell. You might not be a fragrance person, and I wasn't before I started designing my life. I wanted to be that person, and I imagine this, okay? I imagine myself getting out of my dream car and walking down the street and people turning their heads and looking at me and asking me what fragrance are you wearing? What is that smell? You smell amazing. And I imagine myself getting compliments because of my fragrance. And again, that is so small. And you could just be just go buy some perfume and be quiet, girl. Smell is so important to me. It either adds or takes away from experiences. So if I want to have a good experience, a good life, for me personally, this could be different for you. I'm going to do things on a daily basis in order to make sure that I have a well-rounded fragrance collection so that I can smell how I want to smell, however I want to smell it. Okay? Very small example, but what did that make my current self do? That made my current self figure out what smells I actually like. What smells take to my skin the best? What smells I like for the daytime? What smells I like for the nighttime? Not only did this give me a better fragrance collection, but it also allowed me to gain knowledge on the things that I like in life, to figure out what I actually like, how I want to show up in the world. It made me really think about myself and my own opinion. You're forced to think about your own opinion about yourself and create that for yourself. So that's why I love these exercises, because it's not just about, I like style. Let me dress better. I like fragrances. I want to be a millionaire. Let me make a vision board. No, it is about literally figuring out who you are. What is your opinion on yourself in the world, and create a life that you want based on your opinion about yourself. Same goes for taste. Of course, I want to taste good food. I want to have healthy food because I want to have a healthy body. When I see myself, when I see that image of myself, imagine a person that is healthy, but is still indulging in life's greatest treats, which are donuts. But also, I have a refined palate, a worldly palate, a global palate where I have tried different foods from around the world. That's the kind of person that I want to be. That's the kind of taste I'm trying to have. Therefore, I'm going to start now to what? Create it. Let's keep going. Now, this next one isn't necessarily a sense, but I threw it in here because it's so important. And that is think. What do you want to think when you wake up in the morning and go throughout your day and then go to sleep? Now, this is so important, and we all know why. Are you constantly thinking about criticism, about judging other people? Are you thinking about critiquing other people? Is that what's literally going to take up your time in your most actualized day? For me, it's not. I won't have time to even judge people, criticize people, because I'm going to be too busy looking at my life. My most actualized self isn't going to be thinking in a critical, judgmental, and I won't even want to. Not just because I don't have time. It's because I don't even want to, because my actualized self is so focused on growth for myself and my community around me. So what does my most actualized self think about when I wake up in the morning? Well, wait a minute. I don't want to start my mornings and think about what do I have to do? Where do I have to go? Task 1, task 2, no. That's too much. That is too much thought for me at 7 a.m. I want to think about my coffee. I want to think about feeding my birds in the morning. I want to think about walking my dog in the morning. I want to think about those slow mornings. So that means my most actualized self, the morning routine is going to be a slow morning routine. Okay. Therefore, right now, what do? Start creating a slow morning routine to become the person that I want to become, which is a person who has slow morning routine. Because I'm imagining that person in my head, it's so much easier to grasp the smaller steps needed to become that person. You feel me? Are you getting me? It might change throughout the day, but honey, once the daytime hits, once I'm ready to go with my day, what am I going to do? I'm going to start thinking about what fabrics I want to choose for my bucket hat line, Actualized Apparel, which you should follow on IG at actualized.apparel. And wait a minute, I sponsored my own video today, so check out this message from Actualized Apparel. Thank you to Actualized Apparel for sponsoring this video. Actualized Apparel is my bucket hat line, and the first collection is called the Reflection Collection, to remind you that the first step in actualizing any dream, honey, is to start by looking inside yourself and reflecting. And what's better to show reflection than this satin finish, okay? Ooh, and what's even more special about these hats is that they're satin lined on the inside. So these are designed to have the ultimate protection for your luscious locks. Everything about these hats is intentional, and they can be dressed up or dressed for casual chic. Oh, and I just dropped a new color, Classic Chocolate. How sexy, right? Shop Actualized Apparel in the description box below. So I want to think about the types of fabrics for my new collections for my bucket hat line. I want to think about the different meetings that I'm going to have for all of my different businesses. I want to think of positive thoughts because the mogul that I'm trying to be, or that I am as my actualized self, needs to fuel and be nourished by positivity and motivation rather than negative things. So what am I going to do? I might listen to audiobooks that get me thinking in a positive way. I might reference and look at the different fabrics throughout my day to start the routine of becoming a person who's choosing fabrics and thinking about fabric designs throughout the day. There's so much to think about. What kinds of thought processes are you going to enact in your current life in order to become the person in your future life that more often than not thinks positively, that more often than not has fuel and creativity going through their brain as opposed to fear, judgment, and criticism. And as you go through your day, today, tomorrow, this week, next week, you will constantly be reminded of that person in your brain that doesn't think like that. And you'll soon realize that you can make changes to your current self in order to become more like that person. Last, for the sensory experience for visualize, and that is feel. What do I want to feel like? When I talk about feel, what I'm more so referring to is what do I want to feel like on the inside? What do I want my heart to feel like? I want to feel free. That is my number one word in life. I need to feel free. And whatever is going to bog me down with not feeling free, I need to toss it out. And I need to toss it out now, because ultimately it takes time, especially with feelings. It takes time, and you have to work on it over time in order to shift feelings from one feeling to another. And that's why it's important to start as soon as possible with becoming the person that you want to be. And don't wait another day to do it. In order to be more, you don't necessarily need to have more. It's not a material thing. It's more so how do I evolve into the best version of myself in order to foster good experiences, good relationships, and just a good overall life for myself. That's what I mean by more. Okay? Okay, after you have visualized your life, now you're going to design a plan in order to become that person. So you realize how your current self is and how your future self is. There's a gap between those two people, okay? And you need to do a few things, okay, in your current life in order to take small steps to becoming your actualized self. So how do we create a plan to become our best selves? So that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. My Goal Getter Guide is linked down below for purchase. It's $27, and it is the perfect gift to yourself to become the person of your dreams and create the life that you want, especially now that it's the new year. So let me know in the comments what other types of videos you want to see from me and what questions you have about elevating your life and becoming your best self. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I'll wait. And I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye.